Loree Levy, Loree, last name of Levy, Levy. I'm the Deputy Director of Public Affairs at the California Employment Development Department, otherwise known as EDD. Or after all that, you can just call me spokesperson, up to you.
All right, sounds good. So that being said, why don't you just sort of give me the lay of the land? You guys are just slammed right now.
You know, I think that we were in the process, every time there's a recession, the EDD does tend to get pretty busy with our unemployment insurance program. So we already had kind of a recession readiness plan in place. So as we saw anything starting to kind of grow in terms of demand, we could be properly equipped for that. Unfortunately, we got slammed with an avalanche of demand. And there was just really, we went from record low unemployment back in February, so we had kind of a low amount of staff, to where we're probably going to be announcing almost a record high unemployment rate just next week for the month of April, which is only 2 months later. And when you look at it, during the course of the recession, it took about 4 years to get to about 2.2 million Californians who were affected, lost a job, had their hours reduced. In the last 4 weeks, we had 3.6 million Californians collecting unemployment benefits. So it's just this massive avalanche. And what we've been trying to do is to get information out just as quickly as we can. It's like building the plane in midair.
Yeah. Is the avalanche part of the reason that the 13-week extension was so difficult because staff was tied up, or was there some sort of logistical thing trying to enact what Congress passed that's going to make it take 2 months to get it implemented?
Well, unfortunately, Congress passed a lot in that Federal CARES Act. So we have the regular unemployment insurance program, and we have implemented things like disaster unemployment assistance in the past, and we've done other extensions in the past. Unfortunately, everything in the Federal CARES Act is all new. It was all new. It required all new programming, all new interpretation. Everything has different start dates, eligibility requirements. The way it interacts with the regular unemployment insurance program has been highly complex. And that's why you see across the country, very few states have any of the extension in place right now. So right now we'll probably join maybe 12 or 13 other states, and only less than 80,000 extension claims have been filed so far because of this complex task. And I'm talking nationwide.
Yeah.
So So I'm
Uh,
just going to say, for California, that's why we wanted to get to the point where we can get this extension available just as quickly as possible. And that's why it's going to be rolling out in phases.
Got it. Yeah, we've some of the folks I've been talking to say, they're really just grateful to have that date set because it's something tangible that they can show to, say, a landlord who's asking for money. It occurs to me that it might be useful just for anyone who's hearing from a tenant or somebody who owes them money that's saying, hey, unemployment is actually supposed to be coming but isn't. They're not wrong. Like there is some delay in payments to some people, and people need to keep that in mind.
Right. And then, I think a lot of people, they may have had a claim before. And what we're going to do first is get to those people most recently exhausted their benefits. And when you start a claim, it's good for a year. And so those who had a claim that started on or after June 2nd of 2019, these are the people that we've been able to get the programming in place starting May 27th, to where we can automatically file that extension claim for them. So at least make that part easy. And then within that period of time, you should be about 5 to 7 days from when we can get that claim filed automatically for you. You'll get a notice, and that instructs you, okay, now it's time for you to move into the certification phase, that kind of bi-weekly process of answering questions to the EDD that says, yes, I'm eligible to receive money, and then we can get you that benefit payment. So yes, it's good to have the date finally certified and ready to move on that, and then we can get into the phase 2 a little later. That actually reaches further back. When the federal government enacted this, they asked us to reach back to July of 2018. And that program requires quite a bit more extensive work.
Got it. Is there sort of any light at the end of the tunnel of your customer service staff being slammed? We're hearing from all kinds of people who say they can't ever get through, or they feel like they can't, and it just takes too long being on hold. How long should folks expect to have to wait for answers and to connect with people more easily?
Well, I think the most important thing is, first of all, we know how frustrating it is, and we all wish that we could serve everyone needing assistance right now. And I think the key thing is, because it is so difficult, we were at our lowest staffing levels because we're federally funded. We get enough money depending upon what our workload looks like. Workload was at near record level lows in February. So we're having to power up and get hired and everything else in a very, very rapid order. So we've done a number of different things to try to expand our capacity on a daily basis. So we're adding staff, we're doing through a massive hiring effort. We've redirected hundreds of staff from throughout EDD and even throughout state government, and brought back recent retirees. We've even brought in some vendor assistance with some call center trained folks who can go through our unemployment insurance training here at EDD and can help us on the phones. So we're continuing to do that on a daily basis. But I think what's most important for people to realize, because so many people are new to unemployment, they may have never experienced this before. And the numbers are so large right now that makes sense. They've never experienced it. Most people, and I really want to emphasize this, most people will be able to have to never talk to a representative, get their claim filed online through UI Online, get a notice within about a week or so of that saying, yes, it looks like you're a pretty clean cut case of we have wages reported for you, and get that first benefit payment within about 3 weeks. That is the majority of people. I think a lot of people may get confused and think that they have to talk to somebody on the phone. That's just not the case. And what we're trying to do is get the service there on the phone if people do have some issues in using our UI Online system, if they can't find the self-service tools that they need on our website, or they can also try to reach out to the closest America's Job Center of California nearest to them, make a phone appointment with somebody, and they too can help.
Got it. One of my colleagues did a story on folks who are finding, random EDD email addresses on your website and just trying to like send their information to that as sort of a workaround to the jammed up phone lines. Don't do that, you would say.
No, I mean, we really want people to be very careful with their personal identifying information. It really should only go through those sources when we're connecting with you and we need it. But if you're going through UI Online, and then this is another thing, a lot of people aren't completing the application. They don't complete, for instance, how much they've earned in wages over the last 18 months. So what happens is if you complete the application and you double check to make sure that everything's right before you click submit, we are able to automatically process large volumes of claims through our online system because we've been able to adjust some eligibility requirements. If there's a mistake made or if you didn't complete something, it can't be automatically processed. It has to fall out then and be followed up by staff, and that will take additional time. So anyway, that's the one thing we want people to know is, yes, please go online. That is your best way to get that claim processed.
One of my colleagues asked a question about the new employees EDD is hiring to help handle all these calls, and heard from a viewer who says they spent days trying to get a hold of a rep, and then they were told, I can't look up your claim because I'm new, by the person who picked up the phone. So can you maybe address sort of the onboarding of the new EDD employees and how long it does take to sort of get good at doing that job?
So typically it takes about 6 months to train somebody to be an experienced customer because of the complexity of the unemployment insurance program. There's a lot of education that they have to go through to be. And so what we are trying to do, since that's a finite resource right now, we're focusing those folks on those who actually have to file a claim and follow up on some more of the complex cases. The rest of everybody has kind of more minor questions. And so that's why we've opened up this additional call center line, the one that's open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we continue to bring more and more people on that line. They do go through some minimal training, at least to cover a lot of the basic questions we're getting. And we're enhancing that training now so they at least can get a little bit more access to someone's individual claim records so that they can answer a little bit more claim specific questions. So again, it's evolving daily. We're trying to just get resources out there and further refine the process as we go.
But you kind of had to make it a tiered system just to make sure the phone would get answered at all.
Well, you hear the question, you hear that all the time by the health professionals that you have to triage. This is kind of an economic triage. So we've had to kind of do everything we can in the short term to just get some services out there, and we're further refining and building capacity as we go.
Got it. Some folks are feeling like perhaps they're having an even harder time getting through because of PUA as opposed to maybe like an ordinary claim. Is that the case, or is it kind of one customer service pipeline for everyone?
Well, it all kind of depends because the pandemic unemployment assistance program, which is designed more for like the self-employed and those who don't normally qualify for regular unemployment insurance benefits, that's brand new. So I think a lot of people just aren't quite sure how that works. There are some different eligibility things that we have to do. For instance, the federal government requires us, because it's a federal program, they pay for it. They require us to first check to see if somebody has got any wages reported by an employer in the last 18 months. And even if there's a little bit there that qualifies them for, say, a small regular unemployment insurance claim, we have to file it as a regular unemployment insurance claim instead of a PUA claim. So that kind of thing, if we're still working with records, it doesn't match up, we have to do wage investigations, and those may take a little bit more longer period of time.
Got it. Getting quite a few questions about the cards as well. Are
Yeah.
cards not being sent out to everyone because of the volume or something?
No, actually, the cards are being sent out. What we've found, the most commonly asked question that we're getting is that people may not realize if you get an EDD debit card from a prior claim over the last 3 years, even if it's a paid family leave or a disability insurance claim, that card is good for 3 years. So if Bank of America sees that you've got a card on file, then they pay the benefits to that card. And a lot of people may not realize that. They may have misplaced the card. They've lost the card since that claim was like about a year or so ago. And so working with Bank of America, they've put a brand new tab on their EDD debit card website that says replace my card. So you no longer have to talk to a Bank of America representative. You can do so all self-service and get that card replaced and sent to you so we can finally get your benefits flowing.
Very good. Any other really big burning repeat questions that you want to address while I have you?
Well, I think a lot of the times what we're hearing from people is that, what is it? Is it 3 weeks? And the problem is oftentimes there's not a whole lot of touch points where we can confirm for people where they are in their claim status. And with so many people affected right now, no wonder people are confused and they're panicking, like, what's my status? So we're trying to do everything we can. We're trying new technologies, getting some vendor support to help us with that, just so we can help people understand the process. And I think sometimes people may not get a good look at our website where we posted a lot of helpful self-service things, like a guide to walk you through the whole process. It's called the Unemployment Benefit Guide. Brand new. We put it up about 3 weeks or so ago. And it walks you through the whole process of how to apply. There's video tutorials in 5 different languages. We put a lot there to help people through this process, and hopefully they don't have to call and wait to try to get through to a representative.
I guess one thing that popped into my head is, how are you benchmarking the logjam with customer service? Are you guys looking at like average hold time, or what is the key thing or two that you're trying to really address, and kind of where is it now versus where it was even, let's say, a week or two ago?
Well, I think the whole point for the phone service is just trying to grow that capacity as quickly as possible, which is happening on a daily basis. And a lot of people call back, so that multiplies the call attempts over and over and over again. So if we can start doing a lot of things on the other end, like now we can get the PEUC extension up and running in the next few weeks, that'll help. Hopefully lower questions. And hopefully as we get some more extensive training for the people on phones so that they don't have to call back again, they're getting their questions answered the first time. All the things that we're doing across the entire program, we believe will drive down the call attempts. But we really do it's one of those situations where you kind of have to say, help us help you. But that is self-serve whenever possible. Go online, look at those tools, those frequently asked questions. A lot of the questions I get are right there on our website. They're already a frequently asked question. And so that'll help us help people in terms of getting those people served who can do so self-service, and those with more complex issues have a better chance at getting to a representative.
Very good. Well, I really appreciate you taking some time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. And thanks so much for your patience again. We appreciate the help in getting the word out.